David Morgan with you, the Vancouver Resource Investment Conference 2018. David Wolfin, Avino Silver and Gold. I own the company, I'm a proud owner, and you are celebrating a 50th year anniversary. Long history, and we talk off record about it, but let's talk on record.
Sure.
What's taken place for the last year or so with Avino?
Big expansion at the mine. Circuit number 4 is going to add 1,000 tons per day, so we'll be at 2,500 tons per day this year. That's going to be commissioned March 1st is our target date, so we should add probably about 10% to our production this year, and then next year it will grow once we get more into the underground. We're waiting for new equipment.
I want to pause you there a bit because all this growth has been organic. I mean, you haven't gone to the market and diluted your shareholders. I mean, you're really shareholder friendly. Would you like to comment on that?
Well, as long as they're patient, I'm promising growth. So it takes time to build mines and expand them, and we've been doing it step by step based on what we could afford. In the next few years, probably in the next 4 or 5 years, when Braylorn comes back online, that could double our production again. So we've got a lot of potential to continue to grow organically.
Good. Well, let's look at Braylorn a little bit. That's primarily gold, right? Yeah. And what kind of grades do we have there?
Half ounce of gold per ton is what it averaged when it mined in the past. So it produced over 4 million ounces of gold. And we're drilling right now, so we're looking to build resources in order to justify building a larger mine. Originally, when we merged Avino and Braylorn in 2014, it had a small mill, 100 ton per day, so we did a mine plan taking it up to 400 tons per day.
Great. As a shareholder and a long-time shareholder, I mean, before I really got to meet you, under the old Paul Sarnoff days, I just want to go into ancient history too much, but you brought the company along, and the stock doesn't seem, as a shareholder, to get quite to where I believe it should be vis-a-vis its peer group. And I find that kind of interesting because, you're steady Eddie, you do everything right, straight shooter. I mean, everything that I look for in a company and one that I own is there. Do you have any thoughts on that?
It's probably our earnings. As we grow our earnings, we'll get more traction in the market. But we're around 100 million market cap Canadian, so we need it to get over 100 million US. And in 2016, when we breached 100 million US, it went to 150 like overnight. So it attracts a larger, more sophisticated audience that can't buy stocks below 100 million.
Right.
So I think we have to get over that hurdle, and I'm hoping that will be this year with the expansion and increased earnings and exploration results. We've got a lot of things happening, 3 drills turning throughout the year this year, so a lot of news. And that's in Mexico, and in Canada at Braylorn there'll be a drill turning there as well.
Right. Thanks for bringing that forward. I've actually kind of put that on the back of my mind because I remember early on a couple fund manager types. Well, David, I know you, I trust you, I believe you, but I can't do it because of the market capitalization. So I kind of, like I said, overlooked that. So thank you, and I think that will definitely have an impact on the share price. So what are you looking forward to over, let's say, the next? We've already talked about that, but what would you say are the milestones that you think are achievable over the next year?
This year we're planning to build a paste backfill plant. That's not going to increase our earnings, but we're going to be able to transition from traditional tailings pond to backfill. And so we've got a huge open pit that can take about 4 or 5 million tons. Plus, as we're mining deeper, we want to fill the voids. So once we decommission the current tailings, then we can move that oxide tailings resource forward. So in the bottom of the current tailings, there's about 3 million tons of oxidized material. So we did a PEA on that, and that will produce 1.5 million ounces of silver equivalent for 7 years. Wow. So we want to get at that and build that out. It'll be agglomeration, heap leach, and Merrill-Crowe precipitation operation.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Very good. Well, one of your larger shareholders is a personal friend of mine, and he always likes to bring up the fact that you have an offtake agreement with an electronics firm. So what's that all about? And the question is, follow-up, is why don't we see that more often?
Oh, I think you will.
That's-
You're going to see a lot. Even automobile companies from
Right.
Japan, they're all clamoring for copper. They need
Yeah.
it so badly.
Right.
So you're going to see it.
So let me unwind you a little bit.
Yeah.
So explain what the offtake agreement is for Avino, and then elaborate on why that's going to continue to happen more and more.
Well, they basically cut out the middleman. Before we were selling to Trafigura and Glencore and that sort of thing, and they negotiate the terms directly with the smelter, and so we deliver it to the port, and they pay us once it's on board a freighter. It goes to the smelter of choice, and it's usually M+1, so the month of delivery plus the next month we settle the terms, and it's the average price of metal we get with no discounts. So it's a really plain vanilla deal. And in order to entice us, they gave us $10 million up front. So that's in the form of a loan or an offtake, and it gets netted off deliveries.
Great.
So we were able to do that at a time when metal prices were down and we weren't diluting our shareholders.
Yeah, nice job.
And they've told us they've been mandated to find 10 more Avinos. 10! And
Wow.
they said they haven't been able to. Like, they didn't really want to go to pre-production companies because of delays and overruns. They didn't want to go to a major mining company because this was sort of an infancy test program to see how well it works securing the materials from the source. And they like Mexico. It's not slave labor type operations. We treat our people well. We've got over 500 people there, very low labor turnover. So they like that.
Great. Commend you again. So,
Thank you.
Continuing the story, tell me more about the copper industry and why you see this happening more and more.
Oh, and cars and electronics, they need it.
Yeah.
Also, Samsung has a construction arm. They build LNG plants, high-rise buildings. They need raw materials. China has reversed the one-child policy. The world population is going to grow. The demand for metals is going to grow. It's not if, it is.
All right. Good. Well, I'd like to see you get excited. I'm pretty good at getting excited. Well, I think we've covered the story, and it continues to get better and better. I'm a happy shareholder. I really appreciate management and how you treat all the people from top to bottom.
Oh, thank you.
It's a real class operation. I'll say that publicly because it is. Is there anything we haven't discussed about?
Well, metal prices, I think the broader markets are due for a correction at some point. They can't keep going up forever.
Right.
So I think you're going to, you see gold creeping up. Silver hasn't really kept up, but when it does, it'll pop.
Sure.
Could be this year.
I think so. I think we're going to have a good year. I'm not predicting a great year, but we're coming back, and I think we're going to come back maybe stronger than even I think. And that longer term, I think very strong. Okay. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure.
Pleasure's mine.